This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. Why is Germany's government going to fall? Because after all, it should be really obvious to any objective observer that it's only a matter of time until the government of Germany is going to fall. And then the question is, what is going to happen? It might be celebrated as a defeat in combination with a victory, but that victory might not be good news for Germany and for the rest of the world. I'm in Germany right now, and I'm observing things which I have not seen or heard about while in the United States. The situation is horrible. Let me just give you a few examples. First of all, here's an article by Bild International from August 3. It says 4 weeks. The head of the conservative CDU party, opposition leader Friedrich Merz, had been looking forward to his meeting with top Republican senator and Trump supporter Lindsey Graham. But Graham called the meeting off and accused Merz of cancel culture. The background. On August 31, Merz and Graham were scheduled to appear on a stage together at an event run by the conservative think tank, The Republic. On Tuesday, Merz called off his participation in the event. He said he still wants to meet Graham, but elsewhere. Bild has learned from Merz circles that the head of the CDU was unhappy about the presence of lawyer Joachim Steinhöfel, who was due to be on stage a few hours before Merz. In the past, Steinhöfel has represented, among others, AfD politicians, as well as right-wing populist Max Otte, in the trial to exclude him from the Conservative Party. Immediately after Merz called off his participation at the event, strong criticism came from the United States. Former US Ambassador Richard Grenell wrote on Twitter that the head of the CDU bows to the woke mob. The intolerant left does not accept diverging views, Grenell claims. They cancel anyone who they don't agree with. His conclusion, shame on wimpy Merz. For weeks, the head of the CDU had been criticized because of his meeting with Graham. When Steinhöfel's participation became known, Konstantin von Notz, MP of the Greens, scolded, "Someone who participates in events like this makes himself politically unacceptable." For Steinhöfel, the alleged reason for Merz's cancellation, it is clear that Merz got cold feet because of the criticism by the Greens. Merz's reasons for the cancellation are unconvincing and opportunistic, Steinhöfel told Bild. He denies that he is close to the AfD, which is a right-wing party. Now the US Republicans have made Merz pay the price for possibly giving in to the criticism from the left and the Greens. Now here we have the opposition party with an extremely weak leader. And so the question is, how does this fare with the political scenario in Germany? It looks very, very bad. Listen to this article now by Bild Online dated September 7. A stammering economics minister who doesn't even know what insolvency is. In the middle of the crisis, Robert Habeck reveals, "I hardly know anything about economics. Shops that no longer sell are not broke," he said. "This is only the case if they make ever bigger minuses with their work." Could it even be more clueless? The minister, of all people, who lectures company bosses about energy-saving regulations, obviously does not even know how the economy ticks. Companies have to produce, sell, and make a profit. Otherwise, the store is closed. Very easy. With his explanations, Habeck causes irritation. Habeck just babbles and babbles away this truism. This is shameful and a danger to the country, the article says. The office of the Federal Minister of Economics is not a trainee program in which politicians can first try things out for months. Anyone who does this job must be an ace in economics. This is especially true in times of crises. Habeck has shown that he does not meet the requirements. He has already made too many mistakes. The gas levy and the final end of nuclear power are among the most serious ones. Let me make this comment. The government's coalition, the so-called Ample Coalition, is a disaster. Has been a disaster from the outset. That was foreseeable from the very start. The opposition, as we have just seen, is also irrelevant. Now, the Bible makes it very clear that a charismatic German leader will come to, quote-unquote, put things right. But, unfortunately, with terrible consequences. How does the situation look like in Germany? As I said, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Let me read from an article from the newspaper The Week, dated September 2. Russia, on Friday, indefinitely halted natural gas imports to Europe through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, adding to fears of a looming European energy crisis. Energy company Gazprom, which is controlled by the Kremlin, said it would not restart the pipeline on Saturday as planned due to an oil leak. The company also did not give an estimate as to when services might resume. The pipeline had been closed since Wednesday for maintenance. Notably, the announcement from Gazprom arrived not long after G7 countries said they'd be imposing a cap on the price of Russian oil so as to ding Moscow and its war in Ukraine financially. Europe is decently dependent on Russian gas, and a blow to its supply just before winter is the last thing the continent needs. Plus, Moscow has already retaliated against certain European countries who refuse to pay for supplies in rubles, while Gazprom has kept flows through Nord Stream 1 to just 20% of its capacity since June, citing maintenance issues. The New York Post added on September 3, the planned reopening of Russia's main gas pipeline to Germany was halted, deepening fears of a winter energy crisis throughout Europe. This was predictable, and it was predicted. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo wrote on Saturday, I warned Germany not to rely on Russian energy. He continued. President Zelensky of Ukraine also took to social media to condemn the developments. A Kremlin spokesman responded that Russia would halt all sales of its oil to countries that follow through on the price cap threat. So what we are seeing here are devastating consequences for Europeans and especially for Germans. You see, German energy giant Siemens questions the accuracy, of course, of Gazprom's representation, stating that maintenance and equipment issues are in no way responsible for the shutdown. And of course, that should be obvious anyhow. Habeck stated he doesn't even expect that the Nord Stream 1 pipeline will ever be opened again. This means Europeans and especially Germans are hurting tremendously from ever-increasing astronomical gas prices due to the unwise and incompetent German politicians, including Merkel, who are responsible for this mess they have created. Now the politicians don't know what to do. They are completely and utterly helpless, clueless, if you please. And the European people, the German people, are feeling this. They're becoming frustrated. They say, well, there is no help with these leaders, with these politicians. What are we going to do? We are needing a solution. And according to the Bible, the solution will come. As I said, a very charismatic political leader will arise, and he will bring, quote unquote, a solution. But ultimately, as the Bible says, it will have devastating and terrible consequences. The situation is very similar as it was after World War I and before World War II. We have prepared 2 free booklets which you should read to understand better what is going to happen. These booklets are called Germany in Prophecy and Europe in Prophecy. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.